Associated Press that they responded to a 911 call of, quote, an aggressive man who may have been under the effects of drugs and alcohol.
Welcome to the deep dive, and today we're tackling a tough one, really tough. It's the kind of news that just stops you in your tracks, Liam Payne's death at 31, it's a lot to process, especially for so many who, well, his music, especially with One Direction, it was huge. For a lot of people, it was the soundtrack to their lives. It's hard.
Yeah, it really is a true tragedy. And I think the circumstances surrounding it all just, amplify that shock. Being in Buenos Aires at that hotel, the Casa Sur Palermo Hotel, and then the fall from the third floor. But the question immediately becomes, was it a fall?
Exactly. Right from the start, the reports were all over the place. You had some just saying fall, but then officials like Pablo Policio, he's the communications director for the Buenos Aires Security Ministry, said Liam jumped. That's not just a little difference.
It's a massive difference.
Yeah.
And it just adds another layer to this already heartbreaking situation, trying to figure out what happened. And then you add in, we have to consider there was a 911 call made by the hotel staff before the police got there.
Yeah.
And they were really worried, like truly concerned about his well-being.
Oh, absolutely. Just reading the transcript, it's frantic. They're saying he's, potentially in a bad way, even using the word overwhelmed. And what's really chilling is they couldn't even get to him. They couldn't get into his room, needed the police to force entry. That speaks volumes.
No question. This wasn't just like a noise complaint or something. This was serious concern for his safety. And then, to make it even more complicated, there's the photos the police released of his room, the hotel room, smashed television. Now, was that a sign of something? Distress, a struggle? Or was it completely unrelated? It's a detail that's just, you can't just ignore it.
It's like we're getting these glimpses into something, but the story isn't coming together, And then the official preliminary autopsy report comes out, stating he died from multiple injuries, hemorrhages, internal, external. But going back to what you said earlier, there's still that toxicology report. That's pending. That could change everything, give us a better picture of his state of mind.
Oh, absolutely. It could be crucial. And that's where, well, things get even more sensitive, more delicate, because La Nación, which is a big deal down there, it's a prominent Argentinian newspaper, they published a report. And they had photos alleging drugs were found in his room, drug paraphernalia too.
Yeah.
But got to be very clear here, this hasn't been confirmed. Not officially.
Right, exactly. And we have to be incredibly careful. We don't want to spread rumors or anything like that, speculate. But at the same time, those reports, they're out there now, part of the story, even if they're not true, even if they turn out to be completely unfounded. It's difficult.
It is. La Nación even mentioned the police are searching for his dealer. Again, according to them, not officially confirmed. It's like we're standing at this, this crossroads, and one path, it leads us to, Liam's past, his personal struggles, but the other, it pointing towards this more recent version of him, where he seemed to be doing better, finding sobriety, happiness even.
It's that clash that really gets me, because you're right, Liam was incredibly open about his past, about his battles with alcohol, even suicidal thoughts, especially earlier in his career. He never shied away from the darker parts, the tough stuff, the pressure that comes with fame, especially that level of fame. And there was an honesty there, this realness that people connected with. It resonated. And it's all, well, he was so young, just a teenager, when One Direction took off. That kind of fame, that fast.
It's almost unimaginable. That level of scrutiny, that pressure at such a young age, it makes you wonder, how much did that contribute? How much did that early exposure to the spotlight, to everything that comes with it, how much did that play a role in his struggles? It's a question you have to ask. In these situations, you have this incredibly talented guy living a life, well, most people would dream of, right? Yet at the same time, he's battling these demons, these things we might never fully grasp.
And battling them so publicly, too. That always got to me with Liam. He didn't shy away from those tough conversations, the mental health stuff. It's like he made it okay to talk about the struggles, the anxiety, even like you said, the darkness that can come with that life, with being famous.
He really did. And in doing so, he probably, he gave this lifeline to so many fans, people who connected with what he was going through. That willingness to be vulnerable, to be so open about his story, it challenged that whole, glamorous image of fame, reminded us that even those who seem to have it all can still be hurting.
No doubt. It's a powerful legacy. And it makes his, those more recent statements, the ones about getting sober, finding his footing, it makes them even more poignant. He seemed, genuinely happy, proud of the progress. I remember this one interview he was talking about finally feeling in control and how important the support from his fans was. It's hard to reconcile those images, those words, with how it all ended.
It really is. It speaks to how complicated addiction is,
Yeah.
that constant battle, that potential for things to slip back, even when it seems like everything's going right.
Yeah, like progress isn't always a straight line, right?
Yeah,
You have setbacks, moments of vulnerability, and it's in those moments that having people there, support, professional help, understanding, it can make all the difference.
absolutely. And it all goes back to that question we keep coming back to. What happened in those final moments? What led to that? To the fall, the jump from the balcony? Was it a horrible accident? A moment of, I don't know, impulsive despair? Or something else we haven't even considered? We might never know for sure, but looking at the pieces, all the different parts, might help us understand a little better.
And one piece we can't just ignore is, well, the possibility of drugs being involved. Those reports from La Nacion, police supposedly looking for his dealer. If that's all true, it just adds another layer of tragedy to all of this. The idea that maybe he was, struggling with a relapse right before.
And it stresses how important it is to not get ahead of ourselves, to not assume things. We simply don't know what role, if any, drugs played in all of this. That's for the investigation to figure out. But it does bring up a bigger issue, this idea of what people in the public eye face, the pressures.
Especially now with social media and everything, every little thing is scrutinized, every word analyzed, dissected. The pressure to keep up this image, this persona, it's relentless.
Totally. People forget that celebrities, even with the money and the fame, they're still human. They have their own vulnerabilities, their own struggles. But that constant pressure to be on all the time, to project this perfect image, plus the invasiveness of fame in general, it takes a toll.
It does. And Liam, he talked about that pretty openly throughout his career. The loneliness, the anxiety, the pressure to live up to these expectations from millions of people around the world. He talked about therapy, about finding ways to cope, about how important it is to pay attention to your mental health.
Which is huge, and it brings us to this. We need to be more compassionate, more understanding when it comes to mental health. And not just for celebrities, for everyone. We live in a world that celebrates success and kind of pushes down, stigmatizes struggle. We need to be able to talk about mental health, to encourage people to get help if they need it without shame. We need to create a space, a culture, where being vulnerable is met with support, not judgment.
It's that openness,
Yeah.
that realness about what he was going through. That's what made him connect with people. He didn't have it all figured out, never pretended to. And I think in this world where everything's supposed to be perfect, that's pretty powerful.
It is. And honestly, it's something we should all try to be better at, being okay with not being perfect,
Yeah.
asking for help when you need it, giving that same understanding to other people.
Absolutely. And, going through all of this, what really sticks with me is just, wow, the outpouring from fans worldwide. It just shows you the impact, the way his music, it went beyond borders, language, everything. It connected with people on a different level.
Music's powerful like that. It can heal, bring people together, be there for you when things are dark. And his voice, I mean, for so many people, it was a comfort, an inspiration. It's a lot to lose. And that's going to be felt for a long time.
It does make you think about what he leaves behind. His music, obviously, but also that openness, talking about mental health, challenging the way people see it. That's something that can keep making a difference even now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that conversation, we can't let that go, not just when something like this happens, but every day. Checking in on people, your friends, family, being aware of what to look for, the signs that someone's struggling, knowing where to send them for help. Those things matter.
They really do. So as we try to process all of this tragedy, what would you say, what's the most important thing for our listener to take away from Liam's story?
I think it's a wake-up call, honestly, to be kinder to ourselves, to each other, to take our mental health seriously, really seriously, to remember that everyone, even with a smile on their face, everyone's fighting their own battles. And the biggest thing, asking for help when you need it, offering it to others. It's not weak, it's brave.
That's a powerful message. And I hope whoever's listening, I hope they hear that. Liam's story, it's a reminder that life is fragile and that we have to be there for each other. So if you're struggling, please, you're not alone. Okay, reach out. A friend, family, a professional, anyone. There's help. Getting help, that's strength.
Couldn't have said it better myself. His legacy, the music, his honesty, it can be this way to keep the conversation going, to actually do something about mental health, to make things better.
Thank you truly for being here for this. This was a tough one, but an important one. And to everyone listening, thank you for going on this journey with us, for trusting us to unpack all of this. We'll be back soon with another deep dive, but until then, take care of yourselves and each other.